Today we are going to study about fractions with the help of a pizza story. Yes, you heard it right. Pizzas help you to learn about mathematics. So, in today's video we will learn about fractions, type of fractions and addition and subtraction of fractions. So, let's begin with the story. You just opened a box of pizza when suddenly your friends came to your house. So you decided to share the pizza with your friends because sharing is caring. But sharing involves a lot of maths like fractions. You decided to divide the pizza equally among you and your friends. So how will you do that? You have divided one whole pizza into six equal parts. So each one of you will get one part out of the six parts of the pizza. Or can we say that each one of you has 1/6 part of the pizza? Numbers in this form are known as fractions. So what is a fraction? The easier definition of the fraction is some part or a piece of something. The numbers of the form a by b are called fractions. A fraction has two parts, a top part and a bottom part. The top part is known as the numerator and the bottom part is called the denominator. A denominator is the total number of equal parts into which the whole is divided. For example, this pizza is divided into 6 parts, so the denominator will be 6. The numerator is the number of parts which have been taken out or which have been left out. For example, if I take one slice out of this pizza, then the numerator is 1 and the fraction of pizza left behind is 5 by 6. The fraction of pizza left behind is 5 by 6. You can remember that denominator is the bottom part by remembering the word down. D for down and D for denominator. Like I've said before, the numbers of the form a by b are called fractions where b cannot be 0. But why will it not be 0? Because if it is 0, then the fractions will not be defined. The fractions will not be defined. Confused? Let's try to understand it in a simple way. Basically, what is a denominator? The denominator is the total number of equal parts in which the whole is divided, right? Like in this example, pizza is divided into 6 parts. So the denominator is going to be 6. And we have taken one slice of pizza out and you gave one slice of pizza to your friend. So the numerator is going to be 1 because we have taken out one slice of pizza. So the fraction of pizza taken out is 1 by 6. But what if there is no pizza? Then would you be able to give any slice of pizza to your friend? No, right? That means that if there is no pizza, the denominator will be 0 as there are no parts available to be shared. So 1 by 0 is not possible because you cannot give one slice of pizza out of 0 slices of pizza. This is one of the golden rules of mathematics that you cannot divide any number with 0. It is not possible. You cannot divide any number. 3 by 0 is not possible. Now let's take another step further and discuss the various type of fractions. Now imagine your pizza had 10 slices or 100 slices or 1000 slices. So the denominator will be 10, 100 and 1000. So here the fractions which have the denominator as 10 or higher power of 10 are known as decimal fractions. Till now, whichever examples we saw, all these are proper fractions. Proper fractions are the fractions where the numerator is smaller than the denominator. Taking out one pizza slice from a pizza which is divided into 6 pieces is an example of proper fractions because the numerator 1 is smaller than the denominator 6. Other examples of proper fractions are 4 by 5 and 15 by 24 because the numerator 4 is smaller than the denominator 5 and the numerator 15 is smaller than the denominator 24. If all the fractions that we have studied till now are proper fractions, then what are improper fractions? Nothing is basically improper with these fractions. These are just called improper fractions. If you guys has 7 slices of pizza instead of 1, then what will be the fraction formed? The fraction formed is 7 divided by 6, and this is an improper fraction. Improper fractions are the fractions where the numerator is bigger than the denominator. For example, 10 by 9 or 5 by 4 are improper fractions because the numerator 10 is bigger than the denominator 9 and the numerator 5 is bigger than the denominator 4. Do not confuse yourself between proper fractions and improper fractions. Whenever we perform a normal division on a proper fraction, the answer will always be less than 1. 1 divided by 4 is 0.25, which is less than 1. Whenever we perform a normal division on an improper fraction, the answer will always be more than 1. 5 divided by 4 is 1.25, which is greater than 1. 1.25 is greater than 1. Improper fractions can be further written in a different manner. Improper fractions can be written as mixed fraction. A mixed fraction is a fraction which is expressed as the combination of a whole number and a proper fraction. Now 7 by 6 can be written as 1 by 6. So here 1 by 6 is a mixed fraction where 1 is the whole number and 1 by 6 is the proper fraction. So how can 7 by 6 be written as 1 by 6? Let's see that. You can obtain mixed fractions by performing a normal division. Now perform a normal division on 7 by 6. We have got this by dividing 7 by 6. So here 1 is the quotient, 1 is the remainder, and 6 is the divisor. So when we are converting 7 by 6 into the mixed fraction, we write our quotient here in the front, our remainder here in the numerator, and our divisor here in the denominator. So quotient 1 is written here, remainder 1 is written here in the numerator, and divisor 6 is written here in the denominator. So we have converted 7 by 6 into the mixed fraction. So how can you convert a mixed fraction into an improper fraction? To convert a mixed fraction into an improper fraction, you have to follow 2 easy steps. So here we are going to convert 1 by 6 back into the improper fraction, that is 7 by 6, and this thing can be done by 2 easy steps. So in the first step we have to multiply the denominator with the whole number. So in the first step we have to multiply the denominator with the whole number. So this is going to be 6 into 1. So this is going to be 6 into 1. Then we have to plus the numerator. We have to add the numerator. So this is going to be 6 into 1 plus 1. We are going to add the numerator. So this is 6 into 1. 6 plus 1 is equals to 7. Okay, so 7 is the numerator and our denominator 6 will remain same. So the denominator will be 6. So here our improper fraction is 7 by 6. So let's try to convert another mixed fraction into an improper fraction. So let's try to convert this into improper fraction. So how can you do that? So first of all, the first step is, just remember the 2 steps. So the first step is we have to multiply the denominator with the whole number, that means 2 into 7, and then we have to add the numerator. That is 4. So it's going to be 2 sevens are 14. 14 plus 4, it's going to be 18, and the denominator will remain same. The denominator will be same, that is 7. So the improper fraction is 18 by 7. So that is so easy. You just have to follow 2 steps and you have converted the mixed fraction into improper fraction. So moving on, let's quickly discuss like and unlike fractions. Fractions with the same denominator are called like fractions. For example, 5 by 3, 2 by 3, 22 by 3 are all like fractions because these fractions have the same denominator, 3. Now fractions with different denominators are called unlike fractions. For example, 2 by 5, 13 by 2, 9 by 4 are all unlike fractions because all these fractions have different denominators, 5, 2 and 4. Now can you tell me if 9 by 3 and 12 by 4 are like or unlike fractions? You may guess that these are unlike fractions because their denominators are different. But something interesting is happening here. If you solve these fractions, which means that you divide 9 by 3, you will get 3. And if you divide 12 by 4, you will get 3. So by dividing these fractions, you are getting the same number 3. That means that both of these fractions represent the same number. These type of fractions are known as equivalent fractions. Equivalent fractions represent the same number. You should keep in mind equivalent fractions because we will use them in addition and subtraction of fractions. Now that we have studied different type of fractions, let's quickly revise the addition and subtraction of fractions. There are 2 rules to add or subtract 2 fractions. So rule number 1 means to add or subtract 2 like fractions, the numerators are added or subtracted and the denominator remains the same. For example, if you want to add 2 like fractions means that the denominators are same. So if you want to add 2 by 9 with 5 by 9, so the first thing that we have to do is we have to add the numerators. So we are going to add the numerators and the denominator will remain same. So it will remain 9. So the answer is 2 plus 5, 7 by 9. It is so easy. When you are going to add like fractions, you just have to add the numerators and you are going to keep the denominator same. Now similarly, when you are going to subtract 2 like fractions, you are going to subtract the numerators and you are going to keep the denominator same. So 10 minus 2 is 8 and the denominator is 9. So the answer is 8 by 9. So rule number 2 is for addition or subtraction of 2 unlike fractions. So here we are given 2 unlike fractions. So first of all we have to do is we have to change them into like fractions and then add or subtract just like rule 1. So how are we going to do that? How are we going to add or subtract 2 unlike fractions? So these fractions are unlike because these have different denominators. The denominators are different. So if you want to add these or subtract these fractions, we have to convert 2 by 5 or 5 by 7 into like fractions. We have to convert them into like fractions. So after converting them into like fractions, we can just add or subtract just like rule number 1. Okay, so let's see how can we convert these 2 fractions 2 by 5 and 5 by 7 into like fractions. So there are 2 steps to convert unlike fractions into like fractions. So the first step is to find the LCM of the denominator of the given fractions. So here we are given 2 fractions and we will have to find the LCM of the denominators. So the denominators are 5 and 7. I hope you know how to find the LCM of 2 numbers. So it is going to be 5, 1, 7, 7, 1, 1. So the LCM is going to be So the LCM is going to be, LCM of 5 and 7 is going to be 35. So this is the first step. So the second step is to change each of the given fractions into equivalent fractions having denominator equal to the LCM of the denominators of the given fractions. Which means we have to change these fractions into equivalent fractions with denominators equal to the LCM, which is 35, which means we have to convert 2 by 5 and 5 by 7 into a fraction which has denominator equal to the LCM, and the LCM is 35. So we have to convert 2 by 5 into a fraction with denominator 35, and similarly for 5 by 7. So how can we do that? So just think of a number by which you can multiply 5, that you will get, that you multiply 5, you will get 35. Yes, correct. It is 7. So if you multiply 5 with 7, you will get 35. Now again, you have to multiply 2 with the same number. So it is going to be 14. So let's move on to the second fraction. So we have to convert 5 by 7 into a fraction with denominator 35. So by which number you're going to multiply 7 that you're going to get 35? Yes, absolutely correct. It's 5. So 7 5s are 35. So you're going to multiply 5 with the same number, that is 5. So it is going to be 25. So now we have converted 2 by 5, 2 by 2 by 5, 2 by 5 into equivalent fraction, 5 by 7 into an equivalent fraction which is 25 by 35. So we are going to write the equivalent fractions there. So the equivalent fraction of 2 by 5 is 14 by 35, and 5 by 7 equivalent fraction is 25 by 35. Okay. So now we are going to add these two fractions just like the step 1. Now do you remember the rule number 1? According to the rule number 1, to add these fractions, we will add the numerators and keep the denominator same. That means we are going to add 14 plus 25, which is going to be 39, and divided by 35. So this is your answer. So after adding 2 by 5 plus 5 by 7, we have got 39 by 35. So how do you subtract two unlike fractions? So these two fractions are unlike fractions because the denominators are different. So how do you subtract them? Yes, first of all, we convert them into like fractions. So how do you convert unlike fractions into like fractions? Yes, you follow two steps. So what was the first step? The first step was to find the LCM of the denominators. So we have to find the LCM of the denominators. So let's do that. So the LCM of 6 and 5 is going to be what? It's going to be 6 1. Sorry, so I have to write 1 here. Yeah, it's going to be 5 1 1. And okay, so the LCM of 6 and 5 is going to be 30. Okay, so what about the second step? So we have found the LCM of the denominators. The second step was to convert these fractions, these unlike fractions, we have to convert these unlike fractions into equivalent fractions. So we have to convert the unlike fractions into equivalent fractions having LCM equal, having the denominators equal to the LCM, which is 30, with denominator 30. Right. So how did we do that? So first of all, we write both the fractions, right? So first of all, we write both the fractions, 5 by 6, 3 by 5, and then we write the denominator, which is the LCM 30. So now we have to think of a number let's think of a number by which you can multiply 6, that you will get 30. Yes, correct. It is 5. So now we have to multiply 5 with the same number, that is 5. It's going to be 25. So let's move on to the another fraction. Now by which number you will multiply 5 that you will get 30? Yes, it is 6. Then you have to multiply 3 with the same number. So it's going to be 18. Okay, so the next step is we have to write these equivalent fractions in place of these unlike fractions. So we have to write the equivalent fraction in place of these unlike fractions. So 5 by 6 will become 25 by 30 and 3 by 5 will become 18 by 30. Okay, so what is the next step? The next step is to subtract these numerators and keep the denominators same. So it is going to be 25 minus 18, it's going to be 7 by 30. So we have subtracted two unlike fractions and the answer is 7 by 30. So students, you have to practice this question by yourself and I am going to tell you its answer. So you just have to pause this video and solve this question by yourself. So after solving this question, you are going to find the answer to be 1 by 35. I hope you have got the same answer. Now students, remember to practice questions as practice is very important to score well in exams. You can practice on workbooks and tests available on the Edurep app as there are tons of questions available to practice. So now let's move on to the next topic, that is comparing two fractions. So let us compare these two fractions and find out which is the smaller fraction. So here we are given two fractions, so we have to compare and check which is the smaller. In this question, both the fractions have the same denominators, that is 7. So we just compare the numerators and check which one is smaller. So by comparing the numerators, we see that 2 is less than 4. So that means 2 by 7 is going to be smaller than or less than 4 by 7. So it is that easy. You just have to compare the numerators and you can compare the fractions, which one is smaller and which one is the bigger fraction. Now let's compare these two fractions. So these two fractions are unlike fractions. These two fractions are unlike fractions. So we cannot just compare these two fractions by their numerators. So first of all, we have to convert them into like fractions. Yes, we have to convert them into like fractions. And you know how to convert unlike fractions into like fractions. We have just to follow two steps. Now the first step is to find the LCM of 7 and 5. So the LCM of 7 and 5 we have already found, which is equals to 35. So LCM of 7 and 5 is 35. Now the second step is to convert these two fractions into equivalent fractions, right? So to convert these two into equivalent fractions that has denominator 35. So we have to know the number by which we can multiply 7, that we will get 35. So you can multiply, yes, you can multiply 7 with 5, that you will get 35. You have to multiply 2 with the same number, so it is going to be 10. So now you have to multiply 5 with the number, that you will get 35. Yes, it is 7. So then you again have to multiply 4 with the same number, so it is going to be 28. Okay. So we have converted the unlike fractions into the equivalent fractions. So instead of 2 by 7, we are going to write 3 by 35, and instead of 4 by 5, we are going to write 28 by 35. So these are two like fractions. So how do you compare like fractions? You just compare the numerators. Now as you can see here that 10 is smaller than or less than 28, which means that 10 by 35 is going to be less than 28 by 35, which means that the fraction 2 by 7 is going to be less than 2 by 7 is going to be less than 4 by 5. Okay, so this is how we compare two unlike fractions. So okay student, we have covered so many different types of topics today. So now what you have to do next is you have to revise these topics and you have to practice the questions related to these topics. And you can do that at EduRev app, where we have provided tons and tons of questions, worksheets and revision notes. So you can check out the EduRev app and you can avail all these services at with EduRev Infinity at less than 100 rupees per month. Thank you.